things that have changed for me after experiencing one of the worst seasons of my life. When I'm told to close my eyes in a class, sometimes that's really scary for me. I now put my yoga mat in a place where I'm at the back of the room and I have walls beside me. I no longer like being asked how I am because I am actually a very honest person and really struggle with lying. And that question's very hard. I no longer like going to group classes because the expectation that I might have to have a conversation with somebody, or that I might not have control over things like the music or if I'm gonna feel okay, are now really scary for me. I no longer tell people good things that are going on in my life because I'm scared that they're going to be taken away from me. I've stopped seeing myself in a future sense and just do whatever I can to survive the current moment. I ignore text messages that I used to reply to instantly. I used to celebrate my birthday all month long, and now I couldn't wait for the day to be over. I'm no longer attached to my body, and sometimes have a really hard time like understanding what people are saying to me, or like feeling my body. I'm pretty sure those are trauma responses. It'll be nice to be back in therapy when I'm safe. I have a lot planned on how I'm gonna get better. Just gotta make it to that day. What's interesting though is sharing your grief is the way that we also share our humanity. I walked into a yoga class yesterday, and it's just like I just mentioned, it's like my first intention is not making you comfortable anymore. And I'm gonna show up how I'm capable of showing up. That doesn't mean that I don't see you or that you don't matter, but sometimes you gotta put yourself first. You gotta be a little raw. And I saw this yoga instructor, and she, like, I didn't know her, right? And she, like, came up to me after class, and she was like, yeah, I saw your grief. She said, I'm grieving too. She said, I could see it in your eyes. And I held her hand, and we shared in a moment of shared grief and suffering. And she gave me a hug, and she kissed me on the cheek, and it felt really nurturing. It felt like somebody cared about me. And, you know, for my birthday, I spent my birthday pretty much catching up on sleep. No one was really able to come and do anything with me, which is fine. You know, people have their own lives, and birthdays are another obligation, and they're expensive when the economy is already pretty terrible. But I went to Olive Garden and celebrated by myself, and strangers across the table bought me my dinner, which is really, really sweet. I did have one friend get me a card. Thanks, Danny. You know, there's a story where there's this woman, and she was consumed by grief, and she had just lost her son, and she went to the Buddha, and she said, please, 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 please save my son. And he said, I will save your son if you can collect a mustard seed from every single person that has not experienced grief. And when you have that handful of mustard seeds, I will save your son. And so she went and she knocked on every single door of the village and asked for a mustard seed. But the condition was that they could not have experienced grief or have lost someone. Needless to say, she wound up empty-handed. And the moral of the story is that grief is inevitable, right? Every household understands grief to some extent. And we cannot be saved from that situation. That's not the point. The point is to find community in our suffering. And through that community, we find healing. So I'm sharing this not so that you feel sorry for me, but maybe you're grieving a little bit too. And maybe in that grief we can share in humanity, and we can learn to heal together.